Welcome to Bloombox Growing Deeper. I'm Sarah.
I'm Hannah, and we're on a mission to help you become the gardener you want to be.
Hello, gardeners. Welcome to our Mother's Day episode. We are so excited to talk to our own moms and also to hear from Karma, one of our coworkers who is on her last week with the Nebraska Statewide Arboretum before retirement. And we're going to share some of her memories both with NSA and as a mother gardening.
All right, I'm here with my mom, Carla Pinneo. She taught me about gardening. So we're going to talk a little bit about what gardening means to her and to us together. Are you ready, Mom?
I'm ready.
All right, so the first question is, what type of gardening or growing do you like to do?
I like mostly flowers because that's what I've been more successful with.
Any particular type of flower?
Anything that I can make grow.
That works. All right, so question number 2. Do you have any strong memories of your mom gardening or working with plants?
My mom had a vegetable garden in our backyard, and she grew everything from lots of tomatoes, green beans, peas. She canned the beans and the tomatoes. I remember lots of canning on hot summer days, and it was awful. And I remember her making me go out and pick those beans, and I thought that was horrible. But we had really good vegetables all winter long. And I remember the rotten tomatoes. The neighbor kids came in and used those as their weapons.
I like that. Do you have any memories of your grandmother gardening?
My grandmother they lived on a farm, and she had an even bigger vegetable garden, also canned and put everything up for the winter. So that was where my mom learned it from. But her garden was up on a hill, and they had to carry buckets up to water it. So yeah, they all worked hard in their gardens.
And how about gardening with your kids, or in particular me? Any memories?
I do remember you. I never had much success at vegetable gardening, so I more grew flowers and tried to instill that in all of you. And I remember you being the only one who really enjoyed it as much as I did. But yeah, I remember you particularly being out in the spring digging, and I have pictures of you planting your flowers in the spring and having your own little garden in the backyard, and a few vegetables. I have pictures of you picking some pathetic little carrots, but you were proud of them.
Can we get the pictures to put in the show now? Do you know where they are?
I can probably find those, yeah.
All right, cool. And then finally, what are you hoping to do in your garden or learn in your garden this year?
Well, actually, last fall, I took Stella, my granddaughter, it was at the university that I can't remember what it was.
East Campus Discovery Days.
That was it. Mm-hmm. And they gave us some popcorn seeds. And so we saved those all winter long and planted them this spring in the little cups. And so those are still growing inside my house. So we're anxious to get those outside and see if we can grow our own popcorn and actually pop it this year. That'll be a new experience.
That'll be fun.
It will be fun.
Any other garden memories or things about gardening you want to share? Do you have motherly gardening advice?
Motherly gardening advice. I remember my mom, she had lots of perennials in her yard just that were there when she moved into that house, and lilies of the valley. So those are some of my favorite flowers. And she never cared that I went out and picked all of her flowers, because I would be out picking all the flowers that bloomed in the spring and taking them in, and she would always make a big deal out of it and put them in vases. So whatever bloomed in the yard, I would pick. And I always thought that was pretty cool, that I was not forbidden to pick them, and she thought it was so special that I brought them to her. So yeah, let your kids pick your flowers.
I remember you teaching me about Lily of the Valley and Bleeding Hearts. Those are the two that I remember the most. which are both spring ones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Mom.
Thank you, Hannah.
Okay, I'm here with my mom, Lisa, and we're going to talk about some of her gardening memories with her mom and her grandma, and hopefully me. I hope they're good ones anyway. So, Mom, you were telling me earlier about some memories you have of plants that your grandma always had outside her house.
Yes, she always had pots of geraniums out by the front steps. So my mom has memories of harvesting asparagus just out on the roadside, and that's where you found your asparagus.
Because she grew up in O'Neill.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because there would have been a lot of old farmsteads around there that probably had asparagus growing in their gardens. And anybody who's grown asparagus knows that once you have asparagus, then you have more asparagus. And the next year you have more asparagus. And if like somebody walked away from that garden and wasn't harvesting it, it could have found its way into the ditches. And then it'd be free for anybody to pick. Then you were also telling me that you grew up in kind of an interesting place because you grew up partly in Arizona. So your mom had mostly houseplants?
Yes. So she liked to grow basic houseplants. I remember she always had a Norfolk pine, which is kind of a tall, growing, ferny, evergreen tree.
I remember one of those in the assisted living where great grandma was and we always thought it was cool because they feel like plastic and they look like plastic, but then they're in real dirt because they're real plants. So they're kind of cool. Okay. So what is your first memory of, maybe being out in the yard or gardening or plants and your kids?
Well, I remember when we had our first house that we bought, and we moved in, and you were pretty little, and there was a pretty good-sized strawberry patch in the back. And so I was out there trying to care for this strawberry patch, and you were busy picking them and eating them. And so we didn't always have a whole lot to actually take into the house.
I don't know how much you remember this or how often it actually happened, but I remember you picking rhubarb in our backyard and playing with the leaves because you would snap the leaves off.
So, yeah, when we had the rhubarb plant, it was in that same house, and we would make a rhubarb crisp is what I remember making. And that was something my grandma made. It's just like apple crisp, but with the rhubarb. Oh, and rhubarb sauce, just like applesauce.
That's the one I was remembering.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to making some of that this year because I had a rhubarb plant in my yard that I found under a lilac. And I just learned that you can prune lilac back pretty far. And it was kind of shading it out. So last year I pruned it back really hard so that my rhubarb would get more sun. Okay. And hopefully I get more rhubarb. Oh, okay. So what are you looking forward to coming up in your garden this spring? Is there a plant that you always look forward to seeing or something new you planted last year that you can't wait to see come up?
I always look forward to seeing the lilies when they come up. They're just always have so many blossoms, and it's just amazing to watch them.
I think I have a picture of yours from last year because they're not the daylilies.
No.
They're the other kind, the spotted lilies. And I don't know the name of those. That's a little outside of my usual plants, but I do like seeing those too. They're so pretty. They always make me think of Easter.
All right. Well, we're here with Karma Larson. Hi, Karma.
Hi.
And Karma is our communications person over here at the Statewide Arboretum. However, she's retiring very, very soon. But we wanted to get her in here before she retires to talk about your gardening memories, and especially for our Mother's Day episode, gardening
Wonderful.
Either with your mom and with your children. So what's one of your favorite gardening memories with your mom, maybe?
You know what they're not telling you here is I'm the oldest one here, so I do have the most years as a mother. I grew up on the farm. We gardened a lot for the produce, so we canned a lot, we froze a lot, had a huge patch of strawberries. My grandparents had a huge, actually, orchard of apricots that we loved, so I remember the abundance of that and eating way too many for a short period of time and then canning the rest. Gardening with my mother, she was a wonderful gardener. We had so many plants. And I remember we would get sick to death of picking strawberries and green beans. And my sister and I, when my mom wasn't looking, would grab a whole bean plant and rip it out of the soil because we were so sick. She never caught on to that. I don't know what we did with the plants. So I enjoyed being outside, and she really did love flowers. We spent a lot of time on flowers and really loved doing that. So I always loved that, but I really did get sick of weeding. My kids, amazingly, are in their 30s, and all of the 30-some-year-olds I know are very much plant people. They're gardeners. They really plant for their kitchens. They're good cooks, and they plant for their kitchens. So that's fun to see. Yeah, they do think a lot about what to cook. So they do a lot of vegetables, but they also do a lot of flowers. So it's been really fun to see them. I don't remember when they were little. I was probably a little crabby about being neat, and I don't remember that I did a great job of motivating when they were little, and I would probably give them a patch and then not be pleased with it and take it away, which they wouldn't even notice by then. But it comes back. So it's great to see. I mean, I love it that the 20 and 30-year-olds I know are very dedicated gardeners, know a lot.
Did your mom have a favorite plant or flower?
I have her Oriental poppies.
Those are beautiful.
Gonna make me cry, aren't you?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
So, no, she had a lot. She did. We were farmers. We weren't overly wealthy. We didn't spend a lot on plants, so a lot of cannas.
Yes, and I love passing down plants like that.
Right.
I think it's an excellent way to stay connected to anyone who you want to stay close with. My grandma is moving soon, and so we've all been talking about which plants we want to make sure to get from her garden before she sells the house. So I'm glad you have those poppies.
So I have poppies that are what?
Yeah.
100 years old.
So I'm curious now, since it's Mother's Day, but it's also your retirement. Do you have a favorite NSA memory? I know that's putting some pressure.
Honestly, some of my favorite memories probably are more people related than plants. We had an intern once, and Justin was off on a trip to western Nebraska and took the NSA car and left his own car here. And so I'll say his name, Zach Fergus and I, Justin said to me, Karma, don't let the kids trash my car. So he left, and Zach and I went out to the car, and we found every bit of junk food garbage we could find and piled it in the car, cranked back his seat in the car, turned the radio station to Justin's absolutely most hated station. What else did we do? Just totally trashed it. Had so much fun for a couple of days thinking about Justin coming back. Then we get a phone call from Justin. He ran into a deer, crashed the NSA car. Can I say this on the air?
Yeah.
And so then he's coming back totally demoralized with this beaten up car. Zach and I went out to the car and totally put it back in order. It was such a disappointment. We had this great joke, and then we didn't get to do it.
Well, now I know if I need to do something to Justin, I know what to do.
You know exactly what to do, yes. Don't let the kids trash the car.
And do you have a favorite affiliate site or project that you like to visit for NSA?
That honestly changes as I visit them. But Gelman Park Arboretum in Pierce is really wonderful and very much a community arboretum. So many memorial plants. Everybody uses it. I love the ones that are, like this one is close to the nursing care, the senior center. I love the ones like that, like in North Bend, where they really get used, and the ones that are connected to schools. Oh, I love Gifford Park in Omaha. They just do so much for the community and have so much going on. And, of course, Stella Arboretum, tiniest maybe village in the state.
Well, there is the one with only one person living in it. So I think Stella has them beat. But it's probably our smallest affiliate site.
Yeah. So Stella has a garden that they put in with an NSA grant for the school. The school got consolidated and disappeared, and the people in that community kept it going. And now they're very active all the community gets involved, and they do plant sales, and they take care of it together, and they meet together. It's just so much fun. And then there's the Cancer Center in, my memory is going here.
Is that Humboldt or Table Rock?
Yeah, Humboldt, I was thinking. Really, there's just a lot of lovely ones.
Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry we tricked you into this
Come
today.
here, yes.
Yes. But thank you for coming. And Karma, we're all going to miss you.
Well, I'm going to miss all of you, but I'm across the street, and I will volunteer.
We'll keep you coming back.
So a little known fact about Karma is that she is a published poet, and she has a poem that she wrote in honor of her mother, Millie Sorensen, who passed away in 2004. It's called Moonflowers. It was the moonflowers that surprised us. Early summer we noticed the soft gray foliage. She asked for seed pods every year, but I never saw them in her garden. Never knew what she did with them, exotic and tropical, not like her other flowers. I expected her to throw them in the pasture maybe, a gift to the coyotes. Huge, platter-like white flowers shining in the night to soften their plaintive howling. A sound I love, a reminder, even on the darkest night, that manicured lawns don't surround me. Midsummer they shot up, filled the small place by the back door, sprawled over sidewalks, refused to be ignored. Gaudy and awkward by day, by night they were huge, soft, luminous. Only this year of her death, did they break free of their huge prickly husks and brighten the darkness she left.
Okay, so Sarah, what are your favorite memories of gardening with your mom or grandma?
So gardening with my mom, I think she covered the strawberry picking memory, which I don't actually remember because I was like 1. So I'll skip that one. But we had a rhubarb plant in our backyard. And I remember her picking the rhubarb. And like the leaves on rhubarb are huge, especially to a little kid. And so we would like play with them, like we would pretend they were like elephant ears, or we would fan each other, and fanning probably turned into whacking. But we had so much fun with those rhubarb leaves. And then she would make rhubarb applesauce, which I always thought was rhubarb and apples. And I just asked her for the recipe, and it was just rhubarb made like applesauce. And it was so like fresh and springy and just yummy.
I do make a rhubarb applesauce, and it's so good on yogurt or oatmeal.
I'm gonna make some this year. My rhubarb plant that came with my house was being swallowed by a lilac, so I only got 2 stems last year, but I pruned it back and it's all bushy, and I'm ready with my rhubarb recipes. How about you?
Well, I remember both of my parents really being in the garden a lot, and we had an extensive vegetable patch and just any type of plant we could get planted. So I think my favorite memories with my mom gardening have always been the times when she would give us our own plot to work with. And also I just remember when I was little, with my sister and I are just about 20 months apart, so we're not too far. Yeah. And so we were kind of 2 peas in a pod. And my mom one summer like planned this whole garden around us kind of getting to be in it and play in it and then harvest it. So we did multicolored corn, just like 7 stalks. You can't get too many in a backyard. And bean pole, like like a teepee.
Oh yeah, where you make like a fort of beans.
Yes, yeah, we did that. So it was really my mom trying to make our yard and our play area kind of our refuge and a place where we could have a good time and experiment and be kids.
So fun. You did make me remember when we moved to Iowa, we had this front garden that was all rock, and we were trying to take out the rock. And so we all got a little plot in there. And we got to pick out 2 6-packs to put in our little square. And this was so brave of my mom because she likes an order to things. And so to give 5 of us free choice of annuals to plant was very brave. Because I think I planted like snapdragons and then those bright red salvias. Like, they didn't go together at all.
Yeah.
But I was very proud of my snapdragons.
Yeah, that actually, then you sparked a memory for me, because our driveway had a patch of grass down the middle. It was just like this, the concrete was just where the tires went.
Okay.
And then there was grass down the middle. And I remember my mom was out gardening one time, and I asked her for a pair of scissors, and she's like, "What do you need a pair of scissors for?" And I was like, "I'm going to trim that grass down the middle." And I went with a pair of scissors the whole way down and trimmed the grass, and I could see on her face, like, this won't last very long. And I'm pretty sure I did most of it. I don't know why I thought that would be much better.
I think it would be very satisfying.
It was.
To just quietly trim some grass with scissors. I'm not volunteering to do the yard. Okay, how about your grandparents? Do you have memories of your grandma?
Yes. So my grandma Carol, she is also an avid gardener, and she does all kinds of things, from indoor plants to, vegetable gardening to flowers, all kinds of different things. One of my favorite memories is that she did, when I moved into our house, when we bought our house, she did split her rhubarb for us.
Yay.
And this is the rhubarb from the family homestead. So I think we're on like 4, 5, 6 generations. I don't know. It's been around for a while. And so that was really nice to know that
super special.
Yeah, knowing that I have this rhubarb that's been in the family forever, and we'll keep it going, hopefully. And she's getting ready to move into a smaller place, and so we're going to be getting some more of those plants. So hopefully I'll have Grandma's iris soon.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma, I don't remember gardening with my grandma, my dad's mom, but I always remember her gardening. Like, half my memories of her are in her garden. She had her gardening tennis shoes, and I hardly ever remember seeing her wear pants. She always wore skirts, and so she had her denim gardening skirt, and she always wore her gardening clothes, which I aspire to, because I garden in whatever I'm wearing and then wonder why all of my clothes are stained. So I need to work on my gardening outfit. But she just had her backyard, the whole borders around the fence were all planted, and then she had these island planters in the yard. So it was like there was something growing everywhere in her yard. And I just feel like every time we were playing outside, I remember her in the garden. And she lived a block away from the elementary school I went to, so sometimes we'd walk there after school. And I can remember sitting down for a snack. And, of course, we were at Grandma's house, so we wanted the cookies. But Grandpa would always be just snacking on some fresh radishes or some fresh peas, and he'd always try to convince us to eat his snack because it was better. We weren't very convinced.
No. My grandma Barb, so on my dad's side, they lived in Arizona. When I was a kid, they've lived many places, but I remember them living in Arizona, and they had citrus trees. Oh. So I guess I don't know if you consider that gardening, because the trees were just there, you don't do a whole lot with them besides some trimming and picking.
Yeah.
But I remember when we would go to visit, and we could get fresh lemon and grapefruit.
Oh, yeah.
And then she always would send some back. So Sarah, you are a mom. So what's so far? Silas isn't that old yet, but I'm sure you have some good memories so far.
So he's 2.5. Well, he's not quite 2.5, but he's close enough. He loves to be outside, and that makes me so happy. I mean, you can't have a 2-year-old and not have tantrums, but if it's about going inside, I can, I may not get on board in the moment, but that's the best thing you could have a tantrum about in my mind. So he loves being outside. And he tries very, very hard to help in the garden. He doesn't always catch on to what is helpful. So last summer I was planting sedges, a border of sedges around our garden. And I just had my head down and I was planting sedge after sedge. And I turned around and he was very helpfully picking them all back up. So he's just following along behind me with his sand bucket full of sedges because he thought I needed them picked back up.
He was cleaning up.
And he remembers this summer, that last year we had coneflowers where the bumblebees lived. And so he's really bummed, it's still early May, that there aren't bumblebees on the bumblebee flowers. He keeps looking for them. So it's going to be really exciting when they come back.
Soon enough.
They'll be back, and I'll have to be convincing him that we don't, in fact, pet them. We just look at them.
He has a good memory.
He has a fantastic memory. He's also, he wants to keep you working. I was digging up some daylilies, and he was finding worms in the holes. And digging up daylilies is some work.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, I would take a little breather. Dig another hole. I need another worm.
Was he doing anything in particular with the worms?
He was just picking them up and looking at them and throwing them back down because he would realize that he didn't like the goo on his hand.
Yeah.
But then he would want another one because that's how 2-year-olds work. Dig another hole. But I needed a break every once in a while. So
Well, yeah, if you have 2-year-old energy, you can dig as many holes.
dig as many holes as you want. So I am hoping that he keeps loving being outside and keeps learning, and hopefully we can start giving him some spots to garden in.
Yeah, is there something in particular you're looking forward to doing with him when he gets older?
My husband put his sandbox, he buried it in the ground, and then I planted fox sedge all around it, and so I'm hoping it's gonna make a little jungle and we can drive cars through it. I hid a dinosaur in it last year, and I would move the dinosaur and he would find it the next day.
Oh, that's so nice.
I just love those. You can see them on like Pinterest where people do like car tracks through the garden, and he loves cars, so I'm hoping we can do some like make-believe areas with plants.
That's going to be so fun.
It's going to be so fun. I want to play with it, but I'm going to tell everybody it's for him.
Yeah. That's the best part, is that you get to have a little fun.
Yes.
While you do it. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, we have some good memories. Let's keep making some more this
Absolutely.
year. And we would love to hear yours. So we'll make a Mother's Day post both on our Facebook page and our Instagram page. And we would love it if you guys would comment with your memories of gardening with your moms, your grandmas, your kids, and share those stories with us.
Any mother figure in your life.
Yes. There's lots of ways to be a mother.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope that you enjoyed this as much as we did making it. Don't forget to rate and review us, subscribe, all that good stuff that I say every single time. Send us your questions. And Bloombox and Bloombox Growing Deeper are programs of the Nebraska Statewide Arboretum.